Hey everyone, it's Phoebe. I hope that you're all safe and well and having a great weekend. It's miserable and raining here in the UK at the moment, well, certainly the part that I live in. But anyway, I do hope that you're all keeping well. So, today's video is going to be quite a lot of debunking of AD. I've just about had enough. I watched a video of his the other night and he said something that annoyed me so much. Well, it annoyed me is not even the right word. And I've really been thinking hard about whether to do a video about it because what he said was just so disgusting. I'm really not sure if I want to do a video about it. Well, I want to, but I don't know whether it would be appropriate. So anyway, a while ago I did a debunk on his video entitled The Crime Scene That Never Was, and I promised a part 2. So this basically is part 2 of The Crime Scene That Never Was. Now, this video is still up on his channel, although he says that he's taken all his What's videos across to Patreon. But why is this video still... yeah, it's got 15,000 views, that's why. Yeah, that's why he's kept it.
Any of you YouTubers out there, you're welcome to use this film. I mean it. I'm not normally like that, but I'm so annoyed about it. You're all welcome to use it, as long as you give me some credit.
Oh, AD, don't you worry. You will be getting all the credit for this video, I promise you.
They never answer me, Kev. They never say I'm wrong. They just say I'm a con man or a crook. They don't take on what I'm saying. No one's interested in what I say. I'm just a conspiracy. Right?
Okay, so there we have Kevin as well, agreeing with AD as always. Well, AD, I'm here to tell you that I do care. I do listen to what you say, but I'm here to tell you that you are wrong. So what I've done is I've made a little film, as somebody would say, and pieced a few things together for you to watch, and then at the end I'm going to debunk all the points that he's mentioned, okay?
It's textbook. This is what they have to do. They have to do it. There's no choice. It's a murder scene. Mass murder scene. And then once it's established the murder, one is confessed, they isolate that building with tape. They didn't do it. They isolate that building with tape. They didn't do it. They have to limit people coming in and out. They didn't do it. Police on duty to stop any onlookers. Not done. I'm not conspiring here. I'm telling you and showing you bit by bit. It's crazy. It's beyond lunacy. CSI would have blocked off the area larger than the core crime scene because it's easier to decrease the sign. It's easier to decrease it than grow it, right? So they'd have, right the way from Nate's all the way around to Betty's would have been blocked off if they had CSI. They didn't, did they? When CSI arrive, have you seen CSI? Have you seen anybody with CSI jackets on? Have you? I don't think so. Crime scene, do not enter. That's what we should have seen. That's what we should have seen. Of course we didn't. Why didn't we see it? Did we see any of that? No. None of it at all. Chris tells you what he left, and you, police, left it in that spot and never even checked. Have you got his computer? Have you? Oh my God, it's his water bottle he kept on about. My water bottle. Oh, my toolbox. Oh, my computer bag. Oh, we won't bother looking in that. No. She tried to tell us. Tammy tried to tell us. Botched investigation. She tried to tell us. But she works for CBI. What can she say? They took her off the case. Folks. After 2 days. I don't even trust the autopsy now, to be honest. I've looked into that, and it wasn't done by a proper coroner. I think that Chris Watts signed a document saying the DNA can be destroyed, but he also asked for the DNA from the girls and didn't get it, if you remember. Now, if the Rzuceks are watching, perhaps you understand now why I can't stop. I hope you get to see this film, and I hope you're as shocked as I am. I hope you're as shocked as your fellow citizens are, and I hope you act on it, because the police have let you down seriously. Seriously. You can't tell me now the case is closed. There's not anybody on YouTube now can tell me that case was handled properly. I've just reopened the case. I don't want to hear anybody tell me again to shut up about this case. If you hear anybody saying AD should shut up about the case, flogging the doors, you tell them what you've just seen. And I'm going to send this to Lambert, the attorney for the Rzucek. Because that is beyond shocking. Just saying incompetence, that's too kind, isn't it? It's worse than incompetence, right? Just saying incompetence, that's too kind, isn't it? It's worse than incompetence, right?
Sorry to interject in my little film, but yes, AD actually called the police work gross misconduct, and recently he's accused the DA Rzucek, of gross misconduct. Armchair Detective, do you know what a huge accusation that is? Do you? Okay, so just to mix things up a little bit, we've now got AD and Kevin discussing what Armchair has just revealed.
I mean, maybe they did a lot more than they're showing, but if they don't show it, then you don't know what they're doing, so therefore...
Well, we know they didn't tape it off the scene.
Yeah, it makes you scratch your head, that's for sure. You know, it's a lot of questions that need to be answered. We all scratch our heads, but the things that you're pointing out make perfect sense. Well, I'm not going to. I won't say shady dealings, but it's, I guess, from an outsider standpoint, because that's all we are, outsiders, because we're not we're not insiders at all. We're totally outside. From an outsider standpoint, you've got there's lots of questions.
Questions. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just here every day trying to uncover things and learn things
And what, Kevin? And make them up as you go along? Don't do proper research before you go live? Make sure you've got the correct information when you've got potentially thousands of people watching and listening to what you're saying? Is that what you were meant to say? Be factual? Because, Kevin, if you got your facts straight as well, and if you had thoroughly read the discovery files, you could have stopped AD making these mistakes if you are a team. Okay, so I'm going to start debunking these... I don't know, they're not even theories, are they? But I'm going to debunk each of his points. Maybe I should say that one at a time. And I'm going to start with the autopsy. So AD said that the autopsy was not done by a proper coroner. And the coroner, Dr. Michael Burson, he was at the scene when the bodies were recovered. There he is. This information is from his LinkedIn website. He's a forensic pathologist. He specialises in forensic pathology, which is very different. He had a fellowship in forensic pathology. A fellowship. For any of you who are medically trained, you will know what a fellowship is, guys. And AD said that Dr. Michael Burson is not a proper coroner. So what is a proper coroner then, AD? A pathologist can conduct an autopsy. D.A. Rzucek enlisted a forensic pathologist. Dr. Burson also had his assistant, and the county coroner was also present at the autopsies. I mean, what more do you want, really? And as far as Chris signing something about the DNA, there was DNA mentioned in the plea deal, but also in the autopsy reports and the letter that Dr. Burson wrote to Detective Baumhover, he had stated that unless they make alternative arrangements, the other specimens would be destroyed within a year of the date of the autopsies, and the data would be destroyed after 5 years. I mean, it's all there in black and white, AD. It's in black and white. I don't know what more you want. Okay, so AD basically said that there wasn't any CSI. Did you see anybody with any CSI jackets on? Well, just because we didn't see anybody doesn't mean that there weren't any CSI present, does it? Dave Yoakum was the main crime scene analyst. He was at all three scenes. He was at the house, the oil site, and at the processing of the vehicles. There's Lindsay Semmons, who was a crime scene officer. She's also training to be a field evidence technician. Steve Walgie is a field evidence technician. Dave Maloney is the crime scene manager. And Kaylee Henson is a forensic scientist, and they were all involved in this case. Now, I appreciate you can't read this very well because it is quite small, but it basically says that on Tuesday the 14th of August, Dave Yoakum was contacted by crime scene manager Maloney and asked to attend at Saratoga Trail in Frederick, and he arrived there at 6 o'clock the following morning. He then went to the oil well site along with others and processed the scene there, and he was also present on the 21st of August, I believe it was, when the two vehicles were processed. And those two vehicles were sealed with evidence tape. And I do have a screenshot of that somewhere confirming that they were sealed with evidence tape. Now, I appreciate, again, that's quite small and you can't see, but it does confirm that the truck doors were sealed with evidence tape, and on inspection, the seals were unbroken and intact. So procedures had been followed, and Dave Yoakum used Blue Star when he was in the house. You know, on one occasion, AD was going on and on and on about why they hadn't used luminol to pick up any blood. Well, Dave Yoakum, the crime scene analyst, used Blue Star, which is the equivalent of luminol. So they did follow procedures. They did have crime scene investigation. Okay, so moving on to Chris's work computer. On the log, items are listed as either recovered or seized, as you will see. And you can see that two computers were recovered. Well, one was an iPad and one was like a MacBook type thing. But this computer is Chris Watts's Dell work computer. So yes, AD, they did have his work computer. And why you couldn't have looked this up for yourself, I really don't know. I thought I would touch briefly on his tools. They found a fixed work toolbox in his truck. Here we go on page 814. I've no idea what the water bottle has to do with anything. Chris was going on about his water bottle. What AD thinks that will prove, I have no idea. So let's talk about Tammy. So AD said that Tammy, the clock was stopped and Tammy was taken off the case after 2 days. So was she really? Let's just have a little look. She had an interview with Trent Bolt on the 29th of August. Well, that wasn't 2 days, was it, after the case was solved, if you like. And she also, on the 5th of September, Tammy had an interview with Trent Bolt's mother, Colleen. So she wasn't removed from the case after 2 days, AD. She just wasn't. That is untrue, incorrect, inaccurate, not factual. I don't know what other way I could say it. Okay, so 2 more debunks to go. The next one is the perimeter. He said that they didn't set up a perimeter. Well, they did. And Detective Kate, also known as Cat Lines, was tasked with securing the perimeter, as you can see here. He also said about people coming and going and onlookers. She was also tasked with not allowing any unauthorised persons to access the scene. So again, AD, debunked, you're wrong. Okay, so as promised, I've saved what I consider to be the best debunk of all to the last, and it is about the crime scene tape.
That's what we should have seen. Of course we didn't. Crime scene, do not enter. That's what we should have seen. Did we see any of that? No. None of it at all.
Okay, well, as you know, every time somebody phones in a police murder investigation, they make a log of the call. And I'm just going to show you the part of the call log where Mr. Frank Rzucek phoned in. We'll just have a little look and see as to the reason why he phoned in. Now, I know you probably can't see it, but it actually says, this is not verbatim, that Mr. Frank Rzucek, the father of Shan'ann, has called in wanting to know why the house is taped off, as his neighbours have told him about it. Frank rang up because he wanted to know why the house had been taped off. So, AD, again, you are wrong, inaccurate, untrue. I can't think of any other words that mean the same thing as being very, very wrong. Other than as I normally do, and tell you, AD, that you are talking an absolute load of rubbish, a load of twaddle.
I mean,
luckily we got a good team around us, isn't it, to keep it all down, you know.
Well, AD, why didn't your team pick up on any of your mistakes, any of your errors, your big, huge, massive boo-boos? Why didn't they pick up on that?
No, I'm not a cop. No, I'm not a cop. Police released the house on the 17th. Then they took it over on the 16th. They did it for one day. They didn't rope it up. They didn't do all their investigations. They did none of those things I told you.
Well, I hope that I have now proved that the police in Colorado were efficient. They did follow their procedures. They certainly taped off the crime scene. They had a perimeter. They used crime scene analysts, crime scene officers, field evidence technicians, which are probably words that AD just hasn't got a clue about. They did have Chris's computer. There are hundreds of other things, honestly, guys, that I could have debunked. Well, not hundreds, but you know what I mean. But I would have been here for another hour at least. So the Rzucek family are much more aware of anything that AD knows about, aren't they? Of course they are. There may have been things that were held back from the family, possibly. We don't know, do we? Because as Kevin said, we are outsiders, AD. We are outsiders. And you are just an old man with a phone, as you tell us, thinking that you are going to try and solve an already solved, closed case. The way you spoke about Colorado law enforcement was absolutely disgusting, and you, in my opinion, owe them a huge apology. I hope to goodness that you watch this, because you said, I showed it at the beginning, oh, they don't care about what I say. They never tell me that I'm wrong. They always call me a crook and a con man. Well, no, I haven't called you a crook or a con man, AD. Apart from calling you a greedy goat, I've never ever called you any nasty names. So anyway, I'm so sorry, guys, that I got a bit angry at some point along the line. I was really talking to AD, not you guys, and I hope that you realise that, because I love you lots, as we love the Rzucek family. We just want to do what's right for them at the end of the day, don't we? And correcting AD's mistakes is something that I choose to do. He's made some huge boo-boos in that video as far as I'm concerned, and I think I've successfully managed to debunk most of them. I hope it all makes sense. This is a really, really long video, so I'm going to say goodbye for now. I love you lots. Take very, very good care as always. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
No, I'm not a cop.